I would suggest working on when you're trying to get your dog to work for a toy as opposed to just playing with a toy. There is a big difference there. They have to understand that they need to do a task before they get the ball thrown or before they get to tug. Now, Curry likes both games. She likes to tug and she likes the ball being thrown. So in some cases you may see I'm rewarding with a tug. Other times you'll see that I'm rewarding with a ball being thrown. If you have a dog that has a lot of drive for a particular toy, I would suggest using that specific toy for this first part. So, come here, Curry. So this first part is on leash. And if you have a dog that doesn't like going on leash really well, I'll explain a game that you can play with that to help with your dog wanting the leash to go on, especially in the specific area of agility training. So my dog's on leash. The first thing I like to teach is getting them to line up next to me to begin a sequence or a task. Come here, Curry. You sit. Good girl. Okay. Yeah, good girl. So it's not too specific right now. It's more so she sits and she gets the toy. Good. Yes. Drop. Drop it. So, like I said, my dog really likes tug, so I'm able to use tug as a reinforcer. But if you have a dog that doesn't really like to tug, this is one example of what you can do. Now, remember, I'm still having my dog on leash because this gives me a little extra control. Hey, I know. Can you sit? Okay, good girl. Very good. So I just drop it right there. Now, I am coupling it with praise, and I'm telling her, good girl, and I'm trying to get pretty excited about the game that we're playing. Come here. Sit. Okay, good girl. Very good. Yay, good job. Stop. Good. So, it's a really good example of how you start this game. Now notice, it's not super specific, the position I put my dog in for the sit. Eventually, you can get a little more specific. So, what I do is, separate from this, I teach my dog to lure with my hand. Like if I had food in my hand, I teach them to follow my hand. Yay, good girl, very good. Okay, yes, good job. Very good. Very, very good. Stop. Grab it. All right. So, you can lure with the treat, and once they follow your hand, you reward them. In this case, I'm asking her to follow my hand. Yes, good. And then she gets the toy. Good job. Are you okay? Yeah? Yeah. Come here. Sit. Yes, good girl. Very good. Yes. Yeah. Got it. So that's the basic idea in terms of getting your dog to do just a basic initial task for the toy. Now, I think doing this for the sit works really well because for most dogs, if you're starting agility, they have their obedience commands down pat. So sit is one of the first things you teach your dog. So that's the basic idea. Remember the different components you're training. The first component is just asking your dog to sit, and then they get the toy. Good job, very good. Yes, good. Stop. And then the second component, and you can do this with food if your dog won't do it initially, is teach your dog to follow your hand. Yes, good job, very good. Yay. Good job. So follow my hand. Yes, good job. Very good. Stop. Stop. And then once your dog understands those two things, you can combine them. Sit. Yes, good job. Very good. Yay, good job. Good girl. Very good girl. Yeah, yeah, yeah.